and welcome to episode 12 of the EarthtonesGirl podcast. My name is Denise, and I'm coming to you today from my home in Yonkers, New York, where I live with my children, my husband, and our 2 children. You can find me on the internet as EarthtonesGirl. Excuse me, I'm a little out of practice, so bear with me. You can find me on the internet as EarthtonesGirl. I am most active on Instagram. I am also on Ravelry, and the podcast has an email address, which is earthtonesgirl@gmail.com. I'm back, everybody. It has been a month, 4 weeks, almost 30 days. I don't think there's a need to actually apologize for being gone for so long, but I have missed podcasting so very much and connecting with all of you, but to be honest, I have had no energy at all. No will to do this, no energy to do this, no desire to do this. But I am happy to say that it has all returned, and here I am. 4 weeks ago on a Monday, it all started with my husband catching the flu, and a week later I got the flu, and then unfortunately we had to put our dog Chance down. He became very, very ill very, very quickly. It pretty much happened in a day, and it was just devastating. I won't go into that anymore, but it was really, really awful. And that happened on a Friday, and then Monday, my son, CJ, who's only 3.5, came down with the flu as well. Oh my gosh. Between trying to take care of Chris and then trying to take care of myself and still keep the house running and somewhat neat and tidy, and then losing Chance, and then CJ, and worrying like crazy about him, I feel like I just hovered over his bed the whole time. It's been awful. I've been tired. The fatigue has been overwhelming. I really and truly had no energy to do anything, and I was just sad. Also, I've just been really sad. The weather hasn't helped because we've had, I don't know, 4, 5, 75,000, it feels like, snowstorms in the last 5 weeks. It's just been terrible. There hasn't been much sun, and it just all has, I feel like it just all landed on my head, and I just didn't have, as I said before, the energy, but even more so the time to do this. There was just so much to do just to keep afloat of everything going on here. But I'm very happy to say that we have all recovered, at least physically, thank goodness. I don't know how Kira did not come down with it at all. Knock on wood, she's a very strong little girl. So I'm back. I finally feel like myself. I feel, actually the last couple of days, it's the first time I've actually felt energetic. I really feel like I'm myself again, and I've just wanted to get back in front of the camera, and here I am. So there's so much to share with you. I didn't get as much knitting done as you would think with 4 weeks off, but as I've said, there just wasn't energy or time to do anything. And it's funny, I did turn to my needles for comfort, and it did help, but then I ran into some snags. Like my knitting backfired. I did run into some snags regarding one of the projects I had cast on, and I'll talk about that in a little while. So I ended up ripping that all out. It wasn't discouraging, it was just, I took it as a message to just stop. Don't do anything, just be still, let myself heal on as many levels as I could heal, and the knitting would come back. Everything would come back, and it, sure enough, it did. And here I am. I'm just glancing down at my notes. I am so happy to be back here with all of you, to be sharing again. I'm going to be talking about, well, we have this episode 12, and I'm also going to be doing a knitting series, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but I am so excited to be doing that. There's so much information that I want to share that could definitely fit into this podcast, but I think it would be more helpful and serve a better function if it were separate. So I'm really excited to get that done. I'm hoping to have that done and up for you at some point over the weekend, but let's just start with this. So all of that said, let's talk knitting, you guys. And I do want to say a huge welcome back to my viewers. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and a huge welcome to all of the new viewers, new subscribers. There have been so many, and it's been wonderful. I am so fortunate, blessed, whatever word you want to insert here. I feel like I am all of those things with all of the people that want to spend some time with me here. So I am really, really excited about that. Oh, and one other thing too, before we get into the knitting, I want to say thank you, a huge thank you to everyone who left comments both here and on Instagram regarding my last podcast and the message that I put out there regarding the situation with Natalie. I don't want to go into all the details here again. You can go back to episode 11 and catch up on that. But there was a really unfortunate incident with her regarding some very serious negativity that she received over people not being able to purchase things during her last update. And it was really, really awful, and I felt like I needed to say something about it. Again, having this platform and not using it would have been wrong. Seeing something so terrible happen and not to say something would have been wrong. And there's a line in the series Downton Abbey that says it only takes, the basic gist of it is that if a good person doesn't say something, if they see something happening, then they're just as guilty as the person who's committing the crime or doing the bad thing. So I felt that I would have been just as guilty if I hadn't spoken up. So thank you all again for supporting me with that, and thank you to Natalie for her wonderful comment and post about it. I'm on your side. I am on the side of the makers. So yeah, that is what I wanted to say about that. So again, thank you very much. And it is time for some knitting, you guys. So, knitting. I have 3 FOs for you. I have some whips and some future project plans. So let's start. First up are the incredible... as you know from my last episode, I am now on a mitten kick. I am loving knitting mittens. There's something about them. I don't really know what it is, but they're quite addicting. I find them to be even a little faster than socks because you're using much larger needles and yarn. And they're so satisfying. They're great. So I was on Instagram, as usual, minding my own business. Oh, you got a peek. Minding my own business, and happened to go down the usual rabbit hole that Instagram is. And Carrie, who is my wool mitten, she posted a pattern called the A Cup Mittens, and it's one of those patterns that I had to just drop everything that I was doing and cast on immediately. And look at these! Oh my goodness, I love these mittens so much. Here, let me pull up my sleeves. Look at these, you guys. They are warm, they are cozy, the fit is just gorgeous. That right there is actually Mohair. Just realized is actually Mohair from the yarn that I used. So this pattern is the A Cup Mittens by Carrie, who is my wool mitten on Instagram. She doesn't have a formal pattern written for these. The pattern is not on Ravelry. It is on her blog. Oh goodness, I'm completely blanking right now, but I'll put that down here, the name of her blog. And she has the instructions. The instructions in the pattern for this is written in a very conversational tone, which I love. It's how I learned to knit from Elizabeth Zimmerman, so I like that conversational tone, and she basically gives you the ideas and the concepts for knitting them. She does give you the chart and numbers, but she also tells you how to adapt the numbers to suit yourself. And that's pretty much what I did. Even for the thumb, I think she had 8 stitches for the thumb, and I went down to 6 because I knew that the yarn was a little bit, I've worked with this yarn before and it's a little thick, and I like my thumbs to be a little tighter. So I went down to 6 stitches, and I also did my first Afterthought Thumb. Mind blown. Oh my gosh, you guys. There's so much in knitting that I want to talk about, that I want to share, which is again why I'm doing the knitting series. But the Afterthought Thumb, the first person I heard talk about that was Rachel from Treehouse Knits regarding the Selbu mittens, and she did a tutorial on YouTube for that. So I will definitely link that for you down below. And the tutorial is, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's easy to understand. It's amazing. And Carrie also does instructions for the Afterthought Thumb, and it's just perfect. It's really, really perfect. I don't know that I'll necessarily knit a gusset. I mean, I'm sure I will knit a mitten with a gusset again, but it really does fit. The fit is wonderful. I mean, there's no gaping. The fit is just, let me just zoom in a little bit here so you can see. I mean, there's really no pulling, there's no gapping. Well, maybe a tiny little gap right there. But I also haven't blocked these, you guys. I have not blocked them. My mitten blockers are on the way. My Selbu mitten blockers from Patricia, who is P4Chen on Instagram and is also Knitography on YouTube, just sent me a message and said that the blockers are on their way. I am jumping up and down. I can't wait to see them. And I'm also ordering a pair. I've also ordered a pair from Burning Impressions. They are also on Instagram, and I'll link them down below as well. Just for some, I don't want to say general all-purpose blockers, but I'm going to be very particular with the blockers from Patricia. But just simple, slightly more rounded tops blockers are what I ordered from Burning Impressions. And again, these, I just, look at them. They're so lovely. So I haven't blocked them yet because I am waiting for the blockers to come. I don't know that I need them, but I just like tools. So I want my tools to come. So here they are, you guys. There you go. And as the pattern says, they are Share a Cup mittens. When I first posted these on Instagram, a couple of people thought that these were sheep. I think you might be able to see it a little more here, just with the direction. That might be the sheep's head, and it was just missing like a little fuzzy tail and legs. But no, they are cups, and I just think they're perfect. They can be coffee cups if that's what you drink. They can be tea cups, which is, I only drink tea. I don't drink coffee, which surprises a lot of people when I tell them that. I don't know why, but it does. And so here you go. Now, details. The yarn that I used for these was Brown Sheep Company, their worsted weight, and it is an 80-15 blend. It's 80% non-superwash wool with 15% mohair. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of a halo on them, and I can't even begin to tell you how warm these are. The contrasting, so this color is, it's coming up a little bit dark here, but it's really a really rich brown color. The name of the color is Sable, and this color, also the Brown Sheep, is cream, and it barely, I mean, I barely put a dent in the skein. These mittens took up most. I might have been able to get maybe a fingerless mitt left over. I'll try to weigh them for you and let you know how much yarn was left. But basically it's a skein of each. And I bought the yarn from Flying Fingers Yarn Shop in Tarrytown, New York. They carry it, and I knew that they carried it. This is actually the yarn that Carrie used in her mitten that's featured on her blog. So I knew where to get it. I ran out. I wanted to do the same thing. Monkey see, monkey do. So, and I really love them. They are so incredibly warm. They're just, they feel really good. I think over time they're going to felt nicely. It's not my aim to felt them, but I think with the mohair they just will become slightly felted and even warmer over time. So here they are. my beautiful mittens. I love them so much. And this is also a really good pattern if you're new to mittens and you want to give them a try. It's a little bit of color work, not too much to be overwhelming. I know that the Selbu mittens and Norwegian mittens, colorwork mittens can be a little daunting. Even if they are in a larger yarn, they can still be a little daunting. So I think this is a really great pattern to start with. And even for a beginner, the conversational tone is not too abstract that a beginner can't do it. So I highly recommend these. Thank you very much, Carrie. It's a beautiful pattern. I absolutely love them. Oh my God, they're so pretty. I want to hang them back here somewhere in the off season. I love them. And I also want to knit a fingerless version of these, which I think would be really, really cute too. Oh, and she also gives, this is the worsted version. She also gives a fingering version of this same pattern on the blog, which is fantastic. And considering how much fingering weight yarn I have, that's not even the tip of the iceberg. Considering how much I have, it would be really, really wonderful to use some of that to make a fingering version. And I might do the fingering version in the fingerless style. So yeah, those are the mittens. And again, all that information will be in the description box for you down below. So that is finished object number 1. Finished object number 2, that would be 4, 2, and I just posted these on Instagram, and it's funny, of all the posts I have ever put up, these socks got the most or hearts. I was completely stunned by how many people liked these. They really are beautiful, and I'm so happy to show them to you. Here they are. Let's pull back so you can see them. There they are, you guys. Let's hold them up here. Oh my gosh, I love these so much, and the fit it could not be more spot on. I know a lot of people like a drop heel, but I love the Fish Lips Kiss heel. It's a short row heel. I absolutely love it. We have talked about it before. And look at those stripes. Look at those stripes. Oh my God, they match perfectly. Now this yarn is by, I'm gonna say this totally wrong. I don't know why I can't pronounce this. I'll put it down here for you. It's Quaere fiber. Quaere? Q-R-E? I don't know. Why do I have a problem with that? I don't know. But anyway, I do. But that's the name of the yarn. She's on Instagram. And I believe her name is Janelle. Again, I'll put that down here. And I saw somebody else knit these about 2 years ago with this tweed and fell madly in love with it. I ordered it right away. And this is the problem sometimes with, I'm going to digress for a moment. This is kind of the problem with indie dyed yarn. You really have to jump on it when you see it, because if you say, oh, well, maybe I'll order it in a couple of months, or you know, I'll tag it and then hope I can get it later. A lot of times you can't. I don't know that she still has this colorway. I know she has rainbow colorways and other self-striping yarn. She has beautiful self-striping yarn, but I haven't seen this particular colorway. This is Chromatic self-striping. That is the name of this particular colorway, and from here to here is 1 repeat. It's 20 stripes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 repeat, 20 stripe repeat. Oh my gosh. And of course my contrasting is my usual go-to. It's Malabrigo sock in the natural colorway. Love them so much. Now what I did here, I just did my usual 20 rows of ribbing, a 2x2 rib. These were done, it's a vanilla sock, it's 64 stitches on a 2.25 Hiya Hiya Sharp. I did 1 repeat here, but I knew I wanted the leg to be a little bit longer, so I did about 10 rows of the cream color before starting the heel. Then I did another 10 rows of the cream again to add some more length to the foot, because I knew that this, just the repeat, wasn't going to be long enough. And then I started, then I finished off with the toe. It's a rounded toe. I use the instructions from Mina Phillips' vanilla sock recipe. It's the perfect rounded toe. I absolutely love it. It works every time. And there you go. So these are my March socks. I think they're just perfect for March, for St. Patrick's Day, for the rainbow and pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I just love them. I love them so much. They're so comfortable. They're so soft. So if you can get your hands on some of this yarn, maybe not this colorway, although I hope maybe with all of the posting and talking about this colorway that she may do it again, I hope you can get your hands on some of this yarn, because it's really, really beautiful. There they are again. Let's just stare at them for a minute, shall we? Let's zoom in on the tweed. I love them. Oh, it's just gorgeous. And for anybody who hasn't knit with a tweed yarn before, you might think, I think these are called, it's called the nape. You might think these would get in your way, but they really don't. You just keep knitting. Just pretend they're not even there. They don't get in the way. They don't snag. And it just adds more interest, more texture to a vanilla sock. I love tweedy yarn. Oh, just gorgeous. So here they are. I love them so much. And I was knitting on these when everything was going on, and to kind of look at the bright color, I would only do a couple of rows at a time, but all of the color, all the beauty in these socks was very, very comforting, I have to say. So these are very, very special to me. I did an episode a while back, a few episodes back, I don't remember, I think 4 or 5, episodes 4 or 5, where I talked about socks as my diary, and it's one of the reasons why I parting with them is so difficult. These are very special, because there was a lot going on when I was knitting these, a lot, and yeah, so my very special rainbow socks, I love them. So finished object number 2, there we go. I am going to pause for a second, and then we'll do FO number 3. Had a little drink of water. I am back now. And before I continue, if anyone is curious, this is this sweater, it's a lightweight cotton sweater that I'm wearing. Stand up so you can see it. It is a raglan. It's also very old. This thing has got to be 15 years old, but it is held up really beautifully. I love it. Don't look at my big tummy. I absolutely love it. It is so comfy. I knit it in Cotton Classic, and I never really finished off the neck. I liked the raw edge on the neck, and this pattern is by Ann Budd. It is from her handy book of sweater patterns. Followed it, getting 5 stitches to the inch on a size 7, US 7 needle, and there you go. Did my decreases. I love it. Like I said, it's a little old at this point, so it's kind of fuzzy and pilly, but it's perfect for spring. It's absolutely perfect for spring weather. It's lightweight if you want a really quick sweater. This is it. I've got 2 or 3 of these. I throw them on once the weather warms up, but you still need something kind of warm, but not a jacket. So there you go. So that is what I'm wearing. Again, the yarn is Cotton Classic, if I didn't say that. I think I said that. So, FO number 3. They're really simple. I showed these on Instagram. They are little Easter eggs. You know what? I'll hold them against my shirt. That way you can see them a little better. They're little Easter eggs. I absolutely love them. They are cute. Is this going to focus? Please focus. Please focus. No, it's not focusing, but maybe if I hold them back a little bit, you can see them. They are small, as you can see. A regular egg is a little bit bigger, but they were so cute. The pattern is Easter Egg by Purl Soho, which is a yarn shop here in New York and Manhattan. And it is a really quick, simple project. You can knit one of these in about an hour, if that long. They're really, really quick. And the little chain, it's a crocheted single, just a chain that's incorporated in this, so it's not something that you do separate, and you just tuck it in it works beautifully, and there you go. And I hung these on some fake branches that I had in the house, just some pink and white blossoms, and they just looked kind of cute. The kids love them. I do have a couple more. But this one I think I did this actually Sunday morning between church and in between cooking and when did I do this one? Did I do it on Sunday or did I do it on Saturday? I don't remember when I posted it. But the point was, it was very, very quick. I absolutely love them. You actually knit them from the bottom up, and then you pick stitches up and then knit. So you're basically knitting it almost in two pieces. No, I'm lying. You start from the middle and work your way down. Then you put that to the side, and then you pick up stitches again and then go up to the top. It seems fiddly and complicated, but it's actually really, really easy. So I will link the pattern to these down below. I used a little polyfill and filled them up as I was knitting along. And there you go, my little Easter egg. I think they're very cute. So there you go. FO number 3, I just wanted to share that with you. Oh, and I used Koigu for these, which is a slightly heavier fingering. Well, I would almost call it a sport. Now that I use so much more fingering weight yarn and from so many different companies and 75/25 versus 80/20, those are just the superwash content versus the nylon content. I realized that the Koigu is more of a sport, I guess. A little heavier than a fingering, but not quite a DK. So I would almost call it a sport weight. So I use just a tiny little bit. This might be, I don't even think this is 20 yards maybe. And I did this on a 2.5 needle, which I think is a US 2. So there you go. So let's talk. Those are all of my finished objects. I do want to now get into a half finished object, so let me go and grab that. So I have been, I did do a little tiny bit of knitting too. I keep saying I didn't knit, but maybe I actually did more than I realized. I did finish one, and it's not even completely finished because I didn't do the thumb, but that's okay. I did do one more Selbu mitten, and here it is. Oh my gosh. And there is, I'm kind of glad that the mitten is at this stage so that I can show you what the Afterthought Thumb looks like. Look at that, you guys. Oh, please, maybe if I put it over my face, it'll focus a little better. Okay, it's not really focusing, but I think you can still see what you're basically doing is you're knitting along, and when it's time to put stitches on a holder for the thumb, you basically knit in this other yarn. You knit in your holding yarn. I know that's not what it's actually called, but I'm blanking right now. But you knit in the yarn, and then you slide the stitches back onto your left needle, and then continue knitting with the working yarn in pattern, so that when you pull this out, everything is in place. So if I turn it like this, then you can see everything is in place then to continue. So the inside of the thumb will continue with this pattern, and the outside of the thumb will continue in this pattern, or if there is additional patterning on there, then it will continue. So you just pull this out, you slide your stitches in, or slide the stitches onto a needle, pull the yarn, pick the yarn out, and there you go. It's just like doing an Afterthought heel. What I find with this, which is what I did on these mittens, it is so neat and tidy. It's amazing. And one of the tips that Quaere did for this mitten, which I thought was, again, mind blown. I thought it was absolutely genius. Instead of picking up, okay, so you've got your mitten here. So instead of starting to knit from here, she started in the middle. And what it does is it keeps the edges, let me put this one down for a second. It keeps the edges, okay, again, right in there, there is a tiny little hole, just because I haven't blocked them, but What it basically does is it keeps your edges so much neater. Everything in here stays really neat, which is where you can get these big giant holes. I mean, considering that's very, very tiny and almost unnoticeable. I have done mittens in the past and there's a big hole at the sides, and I have to take the yarn and from the inside and close that hole up. When you pick up the stitches, you're basically picking them up in profile instead of front to back. And doing it that way, again, it's such a simple thing, but I just never thought to do it. It's so much neater. Your thumb is neater, the edges are neater. I love that. I don't know, that said, I don't know that I would do it here because it may be a little tricky to keep track of the chart, but just knowing that I have that option, and I might try it. I might be daring enough and give it a try, but just knowing that you have that option with a simple mitten, with something like this, you might be able to fudge it a little bit if your stitches aren't that even on the sides. But if you're doing a lighter colored mitten or something, again, it just gives you another option for knitting the thumb. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. So here's my Afterthought thumb, this gorgeous cuff. I knit the cuff on a size 4 needle, which I think is a 3.5. And then once I finished the cuff, I changed over to a size 5, which is, I think, a 4. Is it a 4? Wait, hold on a second. I've got it here. Oh, okay. So the size 4, the US 4, is 3.5, and then I changed over to a size 5, which is a 3.75, and those numbers refer to millimeters. So 3.75 millimeters is a US 5, and 3.5 millimeters is a US 4. So the cuff is done on a 4, and the mitten's done on a 5. And I will slide this on so you can see. It looks a little large, but the fit is just perfect. Pull up my sleeve. Look at that. Now, obviously, once my thumb comes through, but right now the fit is just gorgeous. I love it. Now, I think the original pattern calls for you to do the entire glove in the one size, and you're only using the smaller size right here on the ribbing on the bottom. But Paige The Framer, that's her name on Instagram, and it's also Frame and Fiber is the name of her podcast. I'll put that information here. She did the cuff in one size and then went up a needle size to do the hand, and I just followed what she did without really reading in detail the pattern, and the fit is actually really wonderful. It's really great. I think these mittens would be a little too snug. They might grow a little once I blocked them, but I think it might be a little bit too snug if I'd done everything in the 4. So I'm really, really happy. And look at that. Oh my gosh. So let's talk yarn, you guys. Let me pull up the sleeve because I've got something to show you. Here we go. Watch this. Ta-da! Now, this mitten I knit this using Barocco Vintage, and I stopped because I don't know if you can see that the yarn was starting to shed a little bit. The red was starting to bleed. Not bleed as in the dye was bleeding into the white, but the fibers, the halo, was making the mitten almost look pink. And that was annoying me. And Natalie, thank you so much, Natalie, from Remembrances Pottery, she said if I didn't like it to just stop. Just stop right where I was. And she was absolutely right. I'm going to take this one off for a second because this is really the left hand. So I'm going to put that on here. Okay, there you go. Now, haha, this thumb was done where you just slide the stitches onto the contrasting yarn and then you do a backward loop cast on in pattern, in the color pattern, and continue knitting. Can you see the potential here for this one to look a lot sloppier when you're done than this one? Look at that. Oh my gosh. And I don't know about you, but these colors look so much more real and natural. That cream color is so creamy. The maroon red is so rich. The colors are distinct and separate. Here you go. Now, what yarn is this? Hold on. Let me take this one off and put put this over here. Do I like Barocco vintage? Absolutely. Is this really, really soft? Absolutely. It's not for these mittens, and I've said that before. I don't regret knitting my first pair in them. I think the color combination on the first pair helped a lot in terms of that fuzziness overlapping with each other. So I am not sorry. I'm absolutely not sorry that I did them in that. But would I use it again? No. I saved this. I didn't want to rip it out because I wanted to save it to show you the difference in the podcast, show you the difference on the podcast. But now this yarn, this is the real thing, you guys. Oh, and there's my other one. I've already started. There's the other one. This yarn is Rauma Strikkegarn. It's the 3TR Strikkegarn from Norway. I ordered this yarn from, oh gosh, look at that, you guys. Look at how rich and beautiful. This yarn is so real. It's real. There's no other way to say it. This feels like, oh, and it smells amazing. Oh my gosh. Smells amazing, feels amazing. It feels like the sheep, but without being so coarse then, but yet it is coarse. It's coarse but soft. It's rich and toothy. I swear this mitten knit itself. There's something about the way this yarn, the stitches grip and hug each other. It's just amazing. That was not happening with this one. They were laying next to each other. And Paper Tiger talks about that. I can't think of her name either. I should have had that in my notes. Anyway, again, all down below. The information will be down there. But she talks about the Norwegian yarn and how toothy it is. The stitches just hold on to each other and there is no letting go. I actually started another pair of mittens, and I'll talk about those in a second, and had to rip it out. To rip out this yarn, you can almost hear static. Like you can hear the pulling as you're pulling it, as you're unraveling it. It's like little popping sounds, very quiet little popping sounds when you have to unravel this, because it hugs the stitches hug each other so much that when you pull them apart, it's like they're unhappy. I know that's silly, but but you can hear it. You can absolutely hear everything separating. It's amazing. And look at that, you guys. No mistakes. I absolutely love it. Oh my gosh. And I did duplicate stitch over the era in my other mittens. I love duplicate stitching. I think it's such a great tool and thing to have, little tip to have in your bag of knitting tricks. But anyway, here is the mitten. Absolutely love it. Again, this pattern is the Flora Mitten by Skeindir Knits. The yarn is Rauma Strikkegarn, and this is the DK weight. Absolutely beautiful. I ordered it from Wall of Yarn, which is in Illinois. Jeffrey and I have become fast friends because I feel like I call Jeffrey at least once a week and say, hi, I need more yarn. And it arrives within 2 days, and he's amazing. He gets it right in the mail. I pay for it via PayPal. Boom, it's here. So here you go. Love it, love it, love it. I can't wait to finish the other one. And what I did also, I was going to talk about that in a second, but you know what? Now I'll wait, because I want to talk, well, anyway, I'll wait a second. So, yes. Let's look at that again, shall we? Oh my God. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. These mittens are addicting. Have I said that? To watch this color work happen is just magic. Absolute, absolute magic. Oh my gosh. Ugh, love them so much. So that is my Selbu, my second pair of Selbu mittens. My half finished object. It's another whip. So let's go on to my other whip that I have. And that is, hold on one second, I'll go get it. I was going to use, my next whip is a sock, of course. Love this yarn so very much. I was going to use this yarn for the knitting series that I'm going to be working on, and again, I'll talk about that in a minute, but I honestly just couldn't wait. I had to cast it on. Here it is. Look at that. If this yarn and colorway, if this colorway doesn't say spring, then I really don't know what does. These colors are going to be visible if it doesn't snow again in about another week or two in just about everyone's backyard and everyone's front yard in my neighborhood. Just look at that. It's that beautiful spring green. It's the cream. There's a little, you can't really see it here, but there's tiny little specks of pink in the white. The pink itself is so soft and beautiful, and I still have 2 more colors to go. There's a slightly darker pink, then we have this gorgeous purple, and then the blue, and then I think we start again with the green. Oh, love it, love it, love it, love it. This colorway is A Bushel and a Peck. Just love that. A Bushel and a Peck by Scrumptious Purl. And I think the colorway is still available. I know that Samantha is her name. I know that Samantha had been injured and had slowed down a little bit on her yarn production. But I think her mother is helping her right now. So yeah, this colorway, and I think she's having an update soon in the next day or two, or she just had one a day or two ago. So go and check her out and see if you can get this. The yarn itself is so soft. It's delicious. Oh my gosh, sorry, I just picked off a little fuzzy there. I love it. I love this colorway. Perfect April colorway. I'm trying to sort of intentionally but unintentionally trying to pick colorways that sort of match the month. That may not always work, especially come, you know, May, June, July, but right now I'm just having so much fun. I really don't think it matters. But this says April. This absolutely says April. It's absolutely beautiful. So there it is, all cast on and gorgeous. Oh, I'm so sorry this isn't focusing, you guys, but it's really, really pretty. So there it is. This is my current sock whip. And yes, it's on 2 circular needles, but we'll talk about that too in a minute. So that is it for whips. Now, future project, as soon as I finish with my current Flora Selbu mitten, I'm going to, and I don't even think I'm going to wait. I think I might just cast on because I'm dying to see how it looks. I am going to be knitting the Blueberry Land mittens, and I'm going to, that are in this book. This is actually the pattern, but this is done in almost like a rainbow colorway. I'm going to show you, if you bear with me 1 minute, I'm going to show you the colorway. Watch me not find it now. Hold on, everybody, hold on. I'm gonna find it, I'll be right back. I found it. So here it is in the blue. Look at that. Oh, now this is the Eventyrvotter book that Patricia from P4Chen is selling. I think the printer has stopped printing these. I'm not sure of all the details. I don't want to say the wrong thing here, so I would definitely go to her Instagram feed and her podcast and get all of the details. But I bought this from her. She shipped it from Norway. The book is all in Norwegian, but you know what? It really doesn't matter, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But this is the first pattern. This Blueberry Land mitten is the first pattern in the series that she's talking about on her YouTube channel. So these are the ones that I cast on, and I'll insert a picture of what I did here. But these are the mittens that I cast on, and what I did, I had the darker blue and the cream in the Strikkegarn, which is the DK weight. This is a DK weight mitten, but I didn't have the light blue and the green, so which is in here. And look at that, there's 3 not 1, not 2, but 3 Latvian braids. Oh gosh, working a Latvian braid, you guys, is also a magic trick. It looks like utter chaos while you're doing it, and if anybody's ever done it, your yarns are twisting around each other, twisting, and it looks like, oh my gosh, I'm making a giant mess, this is never going to work, I'm never going to detangle this. But then that happens on the first row. On the return row, you're going in the opposite direction. This is not going to make any sense unless you see it. I will try to link a video down below to the tutorial that I used to refresh my memory. But when you're going back in the other direction, as you are knitting the braid, the yarns are unraveling. So by the time you're done, everything is laid out beautifully. There's no more tangling. It's amazing. There's, in case you haven't noticed, I love knitting. I love all of the little tricks, all of the tips, all the techniques, and there are so many. Dare I say hundreds. It's amazing what is out there, what we can teach each other about all of these knitting patterns and techniques, and that's what has me so excited all the time. This is not fake. This is not me putting on an act for this podcast. Like, I really am excited about all this stuff. Like, to sit and do a Latvian braid when I'm done, I'm giggling. I'm literally sitting there giggling. It is so much fun, and I'm usually doing this very late at night, so there's no one to even share it with. But it's wonderful. So anyway, back to the book. So yes, this is the first pattern in the series. This is the Blueberry Land Mitten. And then the second one, which is on page 27, hang on. Yep, here it is the three, I've got it right here. This is the second pattern that she's doing. This is the 3 Billy Goats Gruff pattern, and I think you can see it better on this page. Here it is. 3 Billy Goats Gruff, and there are the 3 Billy Goats. They're going over the bridge. Look at that. And this particular mitten is done in the fingering weight of Rauma, which is the Selbu, and I can't wait to do this one too. I think I'm going to end up doing all of these. Now, these patterns are mittens from the fairy forest. Now, if you can't get your hands on this book because it's sold out, Patricia doesn't have any more, or you can't find it anywhere, there is a solution. I'm going to rest this right here. There is a solution. The book is available as an ebook on Ravelry. It's been broken down into two ebooks on Ravelry, Mittens from the Fairy Forest and More Mittens from the Fairy Forest. And I have copies of them here to show you. Here's the first one. Now, oh wait, let me move this and I'll explain how I did this in a minute. Let's take this off so the glare doesn't bother you. But here it is, Mittens from the Fairy Forest. And this picture is actually, sorry about that, is actually right here. So there you go. This is one of the patterns from the book. So as you can see, these patterns in the ebooks have been translated into English. You do get the fairy tale story at the beginning of the pattern. You have all of the charts. Everything is the same. It's just in English, which is wonderful. Now, Patricia on her podcast has been helping, and on her Ravelry group has been helping people get through the Norwegian patterns, which is in here. But if you either want to cheat a little bit, or if that's a little too difficult for you to get your head around, there is the option of the ebooks. So this is the first one. Again, Mittens from the Fairy Forest. And here is the second one. Let me move the cover so the glare doesn't get you. And here is the second book, More Mittens from the Fairy Forest. Absolutely beautiful. Oh my gosh. I know I've talked about these in the book, but they're gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. All of the charts, everything is here for you. Now, what I did, because again, I like tools and gadgets, what I did, I printed the ebooks, I went to Staples, and I had them spiral bound. So here they are. Now, I can flip to whatever pattern I'm working on. Here is my Blueberry Land mitten. Here's the beginning of the pattern. I can lay it flat. Here we go. I can put I usually use a Post-it note to keep track of where I am in the chart. These charts, the chart for this particular pattern is really, really simple. It's so simple I'm not even going to show it here. But I can put my Post-it note and work along as I knit. But here it is, spiral bound. And the reason I moved the cover is they put a clear plastic cover on your newly spiraled bound books. Black on the back. Look at these, you guys. So here we go. So I have my 2 ebooks, and I have the original book, and I've got everything right here, all together. This makes me so happy. I hope if you can get your hands on these ebooks, they're treasures. Even if you don't end up knitting them, they're just wonderful to have in your library. I love to have knitting books. I love adding to my library. I don't buy books very often anymore just because you can buy individual patterns on Ravelry, but this is a treasure. This is definitely something to have in your library. So I'm really, really happy about that. So I wanted to share that with you. I was so excited about that. Getting the books, the ebooks spiral bound. I literally walked into Staples, and it took about, I don't even think 10 minutes for them to do it, and it was about $7 or $8 per ebook to have them bound. I don't remember the cost of the ebooks on Ravelry, but again, everything is very reasonably priced, so I don't think it's prohibitive to buy them. Again, I do think it's an investment. I think it's totally worth every penny. So now here is the yarn. Ta-da! Here's the yarn I'm using. I went back to Jeffrey again, and I said, Jeffrey, I need more yarn. So what I did, he sent me some of these. Now, these he sent me a copy of the color card via an email. And I'm looking at my computer. Now, when I looked at my computer and I looked at my phone, the colors were ever so slightly different. But I do think I chose wisely. So these are on, so you've got, this is the Latvian braid. This is the green. So you have the green and the white. Then that is the patterning in between. And then these are my blueberries. I didn't want to go too dark, but it's definitely still darker than the light blue. These are going to be the blueberries, and then you have the little accent leaf, which is in green again. So here are my 4 colors. Again, this is the Rauma. I have it upside down. Sorry. Rauma Strikkegarn. Here it is. Can you see that? Hold on. Let's put my hand behind it, see if I can block off so you can see. I don't know. I think you can see it. But here's the Rauma Strikkegarn. DK weight. So here they are. And to make life easier, my darling Jeffrey says to me, because I feel like he's my buddy, he says, would you like me to send you a color card? Crickets for a second. You have color cards? Yes, please. Oh my gosh. And voila, I now have, here is the Strikkegarn, the DK weight color card, and I also have the Filgarn. Oh my gosh, here's the fingering weight color cards. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at these colors. Colors, 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 endless color. Oh my gosh, I want one of everything. Of course, that's divorce would be, yeah. Not a good idea. There's honestly no room. Even if I wanted everyone, there's no more room in this house. But here they are. Let's hold these up again. Here are the gorgeous color cards, you guys. Let me see if I can hold them so you can see all 3. Here they are. Oh, look at that. I am so happy to have these. It is just, you can really tell. Now, honestly, if I had to pick again, this is the light blue that I have. I'd probably have gone with this richer blue. I probably would have done the blueberries in this blue. I think what I ended up getting was this one over here. So, actually not that one. I think I have this one here. The point is, I'm happy with my choices. I really am, but it could have been even easier to choose had I had these color cards. But now that I do, I am thrilled. I am grateful. They're absolutely beautiful. They're handy. And I'm just storing them as they came in the, hold on. I'm just keeping them in the packaging. This is how it came to me. I do have clear sleeves. Hold on one second. I do use sheet protectors. So I can't, and they'll fit perfectly in the sheet protector. So here is another option. I might have to, they might stick out, if you can see, they'll stick out a little bit from the top. But that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter to me. But you can slip them in these. You can keep them in the package. It's totally up to you how you want to store them. So yeah, color cards. Oh my gosh, I love them. So there you go. Let me check my notes. Let's see where we are, and I will be right back. So I think that is all of the knitting and project updates that I have for you. Oh, and if you saw on Instagram, here is my little Lauren, my little gnome. That was knit for me by With Scarlet. Oh my god. I'm a horrible person for blanking on her name right now. Oh my god, I'll put that down here. I'm so sorry, forgive me. My brain is so full right now. I'm so very sorry, but I absolutely love him. You know what? Let me take him down so you can see him. Here he is. I saw, you know what? This is just, hold on a second. That was just unforgivable. Drew, the lovely and incredibly talented knitter Drew, who is With Scarlet on Instagram, she knit this for me. I saw her knitting these during Christmas and I said, you know what? As much as I would love to make one of these, and I can knit this. It's not very difficult, not very complicated. I'm just not gonna have the time right now. It's one of those things that you want to knit and you keep putting it off, and the next thing you know, it's next Christmas and you still don't have one. And I said to her, I would pay you to knit me one of these. And she said, well, why don't we do a trade? And we ended up trading, and look at him. Oh my god, he's so cute. I love him so very much. He is so cute and just charming, and I feel like he keeps me company in here when I'm knitting at night. And his name is Lauren, spelled Loryn, and I came up with his, I didn't create his name myself. There is a gnome name generator online. You can look it up. Gnome name generator. I don't even think, did I punch in a name? I don't remember exactly how it works, but I'll put the link down below, and it generates a name for your gnome. And Lauren the gnome. I just thought it was so perfect. So here he is. I love him. Let me put him back up here. Hopefully he'll stay nicely. There he is. And another thing that I recently acquired were, you know that I have Betty. Here, let's take a look at Betty. But Betty now has a stand, and I'm so excited about Betty's little stand because it's a very subtle thing, so you really see her and not the stand so much. And here's Bobby, but I'm not going to bring Bobby any closer because, you know, Bobby's a little shy because he's naked. Bobby needs an outfit, which I will get to knitting at some point. So those are acquisitions, just recent little things that I've gotten to keep me company and decorate my space. And let's talk about this knitting series that I'm going to do. I really just want to talk about that for a minute. I'm so excited to be doing this. It is going to be a 2 circular needle knitting series. And what my plan is to talk about 2 circular needles, how to use them, how to apply them to socks, which is mainly, as you see here, that's mainly what I the more common item that I use them with, the more daily used item. But there, you can also use them for mittens, which I have here, for sweaters, for hats, for cowls, anything that you can knit in the round, you can use 2 circular needles for. And what I want to cover in this series of tutorials is how to use 2 circular needles for all of these different items. How to cast on, how to go from one side to the other, how to basically how to use them, how to knit with them. I get questions regularly in the comments and in private messages on Instagram, emails, of people asking how to knit socks, mainly how to knit socks. And I always go back to the 2 circular needles. It is just what works for me. Is it the right way, the wrong way? Absolutely not. It's what works for me, and I want to share that information with you. I'm very excited to do that. I also want to cover, I've been getting a lot of questions lately on how to knit socks, how to start knitting socks if you never have. So the first episode, again, which I'm hoping to have published very soon, at some point over the weekend, is going to cover the basics of 2 circular needles, the pros, the cons, different types of needles. For example, there's Hiya Hiya Sharps, Chow-Goos, etc., as well as knitting socks, how you get started knitting socks, how you pick your yarn, where you start, some tutorials online. I really hope that that helps people and answers a lot of questions. I can answer them individually, and I'm happy to do that, but I think doing a video and having people see things, I am a visual learner, and it really does help me to see techniques. I latch onto them right away. I get them right away. It just makes more sense in my brain. So I hope that these videos will help you. I am really, again, really excited to be doing these. If you have any questions, if there's anything that you would like to see me focus on, I did get some comments. I talked about this in a post on Instagram yesterday that I was going to be doing this series, and some people already have left comments with what they would like to see. So if there's anything that any of my viewers here, any of you would like to see me focus on or talk about, please feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know. I love hearing from you. I really do. And I do try very hard to reply to messages as quickly as I can. I think the last 3 weeks was a little bit of an exception for reasons stated earlier here. But I would love to hear from you. And again, the series is going to be broken up into different topics, so it's not going to be one giant video. I think that would just be overwhelming. So the first episode or the first tutorial will be an introduction to circulars and including socks, and then how to apply that to socks. The next one, not necessarily in this order, but then there'll be a mitten episode. There will be a hat episode, maybe even combined with a cowl. Then we'll talk about sweaters, and I think those are the main. So socks, hats, socks, mittens, hats and cowls, sweaters. So I think I'm gonna, for now, I think 4 videos, 4 tutorials. And in between there, I will talk about changing colors. Some people had questions about heels, sock heels, so we'll talk about that. So there's going to be a lot of information, and I really hope that you all find it really helpful. And I think that covers it regarding my knitting series. So stay tuned for that. Sorry I didn't have any sewing for you this week, but hopefully I will get back to that. When I was showing you the color cards, here, I'll grab it really quick. This was the pattern that I used. It's basically an iron cozy. So I'm hoping to sew that soon, because as you can see, my iron is sitting back there exposed to the elements, and that's not good for the iron. I actually have a really good iron that's in the closet right now because I don't want it exposed, but hopefully I can get that sewn. I have my project bag sitting over there that needs to be finished. I have fabric to make another one. So lots of good things that will be coming up. I won't promise when the next episode will be up, but hopefully the kids go back to school on Monday, regular schedule, so fingers crossed. I want to do this so much more often, so let's just see what happens. I will see where the road takes me. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to try to plan it. I'm not going to stress about it in any way. Again, I will see where the road takes me. Hopefully it will bring me back to you all again very soon. I hope everybody had a very peaceful Easter. I know I didn't say that before. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. If you are on break, I hope you are enjoying your break. Have a wonderful weekend. Today is, I am recording this on Thursday, April 6th. I hope everyone has a really good weekend. First episode of the knitting series will be up soon. And I'm just so happy to be back here with all of you. I really have amazing viewers and subscribers. I'm so happy to be back. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you all again very soon. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
He's never looked so happy in his life. Let's run, Scooby. Come on, bud. Come on, buddy.